welcome to Car Talk. This is not talking about cars, this is talking inside of a car. Today's topic is, I bounced my first check. Earlier this week, I bounced the first check I've ever bounced in my entire life. 35 years old, somewhat recently. And on Wednesday of this week, I bounced a check for the first time. There's a small backstory to it. I've done some content on it, but this is the longer form as far as the storytelling. With entrepreneurship, with owning a business, running a business day to day, there's a lot of things you have to learn on the job. On the job training, which is what most jobs call them. You can't just take a class to learn all this stuff. One thing which I have constantly been learning and evolving is cash flow management, which is something, I don't know, challenging for every company, maybe challenging for me. And because I've learned, like an accordion, there's sometimes in the business that the bank account is just overflowing, and sometimes there's really not much in there at all, and most of that has to do with inventory purchasing. And sales are pretty consistent, but sometimes you got to buy a bunch, sometimes a little, sometimes I might expand inventory, blah, 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 blah. And when you do that, even though sales are strong, you end up with a little bit of a cash flow shortage. And what I've done in the past with decent success is I'll just run a credit card balance once in a while for a month or two, and you pay a little bit of interest, yes. But at the same time, you are able just to kind of bridge that gap because I buy my inventory on a credit card. So I use that just to spread it out to pay a little bit more, but be able to keep that cash flow stuff right. What I've done in the past too on larger purchases, once in a while, is an Amazon loan, about similar interest rate as credit cards, and they just take a cut of your Amazon payments, and I qualify for a bunch because of the selling stuff, so I've done that too. But I've been really growing and expanding the inventory the last couple months with the headphones and with more quantities and stuff like that. Just everything better stocked. The sales better, the better it's stocked, and the sales go up. You just got to keep revving up. So I've been buying about as much as I've been taking in, which is good because the sales are there. I know it's going to work itself out, but I've been spending as much as I've been taking in for the last 2 to 3 months. And I was looking for a different way because I was not eager to pay like 17% APR if I could find something lower. So I came across a Facebook ad someplace which does the same type of loan funding for like 8%. I'm like, oh, that's worth a shot. So I looked at that and it all worked out fine. So I did a little online thing, did the loan, blah, blah, blah. Money got sent into ACH the next day, all super smooth. But then what happened was I got a little bit trigger happy, and I paid off the credit card balance, the Amazon loan, all this other stuff, really good, which all worked out fine and well. Everything got paid off, there was enough money, everything was fine. But then, after I paid all that, the next business day, once all those withdrawals and payments came out, then I realized I had sent off a check to the IRS for my Q1 prepayment. In case you guys didn't know, most people get returns when you're a business owner. You pay taxes once a quarter, and I sent off my Q1 prepayment to the IRS, and that check cleared, but that left about $100 in the business checking account, and that was my mistake. And I realized because I forgot about that one check sitting out there, which you send off and then you don't know when they're going to cash it. It could be a day later or a week later, 2 weeks later. You think they would cash it fast if they're always wanting money? Not always the case. But they cashed that check, which I had sent off about a week and a half ago, and then finally cashed it on that day, because that was my reminder, because everything was fine. Like, oh, wait a minute, there's $198 in the business checking account. This could pose a problem. So then I realized, oh, wait a minute, there's the Illinois prepayment, which is far less because it's state, and a couple business things. I was like, there's a good chance the check could bounce. It might get by because I had a deposit coming right away, like in a day or two, for typical routine deposits Amazon pays every 2 weeks. And there goes the video. So then, to recover here. So then what happened was I was like, oh, one of these is going to bounce. I might have 1 or 2. I told Karen, I was like, there's a good chance that 1 or 2 of these checks, something's going to bounce in the next couple days. And sure enough, It did. The first day was hard because Wednesday is when I realized that. Yesterday wasn't bad at all because I realized that what are you going to do? This is already set in motion. I can't control any of this. I can't control when anyone's going to cash any checks. They're just going to do it whenever they do. And then one bounced yesterday, and well, what do you do? Just move forward. Deposits all hit. Everything's fine now. But it was such an interesting thing because at first I was upset with myself. I was really upset with myself because I should have seen that coming. And that's my job to keep an eye on things like that and make sure all that stuff works out just right. And I did not do my job very well because that was a problem. And it wasn't really going to hurt the business, wasn't going to hurt our credit score, wasn't going to hurt us financially. All that really hurt was a point of pride. Like, this is what I do, and it's my job to do it well. And I normally have my entire life. It was such an ironic thing because I have the most money I've ever had in my entire life, and the business is the biggest it's ever been ever. And both those things line up, and guess what? I bounced my first check. So it was a very odd thing. I was like, well, this is so stupid. I should have seen this coming. I messed up. But then, what do? I ended up bouncing a check anyway. And then once that kind of settled in, my pride got dinged a little bit, then I kind of moved on. And yesterday wasn't bad at all because when you know the stuff is already coming, there's not really much else you can do. It's like all you can do is wait and see what happens. So I kind of got over it once that happened. But I got to admit, it dinged up my pride a little bit. And that's such a reminder. It reminded me of several things. One, a reminder that I still make mistakes. Two, that you can't really dwell on a mistake. You can learn from it and move forward. I won't make that mistake again. I'll keep better tabs on the cash flow instead of just getting gung-ho crazy when money shifts around. Three, what else did I learn? That pride is an interesting thing. It dinged my pride because I would pride myself in being able to manage this stuff just right. And guess what happened? Then I messed up and that check bounced. But here it is, a couple days in hindsight, kind of settled. You can't beat yourself up. You learn, you move forward, and you realize that in entrepreneurship, so much is on-the-job training. Because you could study a book that says, oh yeah, watch your cash flow. You could study a book that says, do this, do this, do this. But that's really not real life. Something like this is going to make a far bigger impact on my learning and future decisions than some book or some course would have ever taught me, because this is living life. It's just kind of like you can read a book about how to walk, but till you walk and fall a few times, if you're a 1-year-old little person, it's never going to make the same impact on you. You can read lots of things about how to do things, what to do, what not to do, but not until you've lived them, oftentimes, do you actually get good at navigating those kind of situations and learning what works and what doesn't work. But more especially when you make the mistake, you learn the most, because you realize, I don't ever want to be put in this position again because I really, really dislike it. And trust me, that will never happen again because I've made that mistake now. And for any of you that ever consider about running a business, entrepreneurship, starting a business, you will make mistakes. Some will be expensive, some will be cheap, but you'll make mistakes. But the bright side of that, which is what I was reminded of earlier this week, is that the mistakes, when you make them, because you'll make them inevitably all the time, no matter how good, big, strong, smart you are, you'll make mistakes. But when you make them, the bright side is you learn. And you learn much more intensely, much more quickly, much more impactfully when you live it, make a mistake, versus read about it or get told about it. Because you don't really know how it feels, and sometimes people associate feelings with actions and inactions, and you want to avoid the feeling you ever had again, because it's not so much the money, because that's going to work itself out fine. It's the feeling of, I did not see this coming, and I will not make that mistake again because I hate that feeling. And it's an important distinction to remember, because you can play life or death. You can, what is it from Van Wilder? You can treat every situation like life or death, but you'll die a lot of times if you do it that way. Not everything's life or death. A lot of stuff you can recover from. Most things you can recover from. Most things aren't even all that important. But the feeling of not seeing this coming and the mistake in knowing that I wrote a check that bounced because I forgot about it, essentially, that's something that I do not want to repeat again, ever again. So I wrote my first bad check this week by accident, but it was my mistake, and I wrote a bad check, and I learned more than I ever would have learned had I not written a bad check, oddly enough. Car Talk, Tyler Douthit.